Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Attic. I'm Mike. How are you? So, in this YouTube version of the Comic Book Attic, I talk about what comics I've read in the past month. In this case, in this episode, I'm talking about comics read in July of 2025. I know this episode and the last one were late, and that's because I was really deciding whether or not I wanted to keep doing these. Um, just kept feeling like I wasn't saying much new or different. I was just showing comics, but I've decided to keep going. So here I am. Hi. So in the month of July 2025, I read 100 comics exactly. Not on purpose, it just happened. 66 Marvel, 10 DC, and 24 from other publishers. Um, so let's just go in that order. Let's take a look at the Marvels. First, one of the things I was reading in July from Marvel was Brian Michael Bendis' Jessica Jones series from a few years ago. Um, I read a big chunk of those issues. I picked up where I'd left off previously with number 3. And, of course, I read 4 and 5. A variant cover there. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I had read 13 when it came out because it was the first part of the Return of the Purple Man storyline. But then I picked up in July with 14 and 15, and these were all really good. And once you get in the groove of reading Bendis books, you just go issue to issue, and before you know it, you've read a stack. So I did read the rest of the run, which you'll see in next month's video, but really enjoyable series. Michael Gaydos does the artwork, um, and of course David Mack does the regular covers. This one variant cover I got just because it was the cheapest thing available at the moment. But yeah, I really wanted to finish that series, and it was really good. Some appearances by Captain Marvel and of course Luke Cage. But yeah, good stuff. I read the latest issues of Daredevil, number 22 or 684. 23, 685. It's really fun to see Daredevil in that old costume again, even if it's just for a short time. Um, Nice to see it drawn by John Romita Jr. on the cover. Just a nice little taste of a throwback. Some Uncanny Avengers issues that I had missed when they came out. I went back and picked up the holes in the collection and just read those. Here we have from the Gary Dugan run issue 15 and 21. And then Jim Zub took over. Here's 29. Just issues that I had missed. I was buying it sporadically. I had been picking up back issues sporadically. So I just finally got whatever issues I was missing and read them. I was reading some X-23. Here we have, this is from the Tamaki run. Here's number 7. Really become a fan of X-23 in the last year. Here's number 8. Been reading a lot of her comics. Number 9. There's a variant cover for 10. And a variant cover for 11. when I'm, flipping through back issues at a store or at a convention, um, if the issue I need is there and it's a decent price, I'll buy it no matter what the cover is. Even if it's not the cover I'd prefer, just to get the issue. Um, I'm not, incredibly picky about that. So enjoyed those issues. Read Incredible Hulk 26 or Legacy 807. Um, I'm enjoying Johnson's run, um, but it really, the thing I find about Philip Kennedy Johnson's work is that it really takes a while to feel like you've gotten somewhere. But Kev Walker doing nice work on that issue. Got Ultimate Black Panther 17. I read it rather. Avengers 28 or 794. Still with the One World Under Doom crossover. Kind of looking forward to seeing what they do once they're done with that. Spider-Man and Wolverine 2. Issue 1 had quite the cliffhanger. I knew not to be totally fooled into thinking it could be 100% true. Um, I've read the next couple issues since, and it's still not revealed if it's 100% true, but it's an interesting story beat to hang over the series. Um, not the biggest fan of Carrie Andrews' exaggerated art. It's like a bunch of squishy circular things. That's what I see when I see his figures. But I mean, the book's fine. Lots of action. Weapon X Men 4, Joe Casey and Chris Cross. Love seeing Red Ronin. I've always loved that character. Ever since I was a kid and liked big robots, aka Transformers, Red Ronin was cool. Wolverine 10 or 402. Still enjoying this series. Spider-Gwen and the Ghost Spider 15 or Legacy 75. Nice cover. Stephanie Phillips. I mean, the book's all right. She's been going into space and stuff, and I don't know. It seems a little outside of what I'd like, but it's not terrible. This one, let's see. She might be back on Earth now, and yeah, I think the next issue is a new volume. Amazing Spider-Man 5 or 969. Logo exploding all over the place. Joe Kelly written run, which I don't think that bad. I mean, there's things here and there that I don't care for, but overall it's fine. Issue 6 or 970. Some Black Cat. 7 971. Like, I wasn't entirely crazy about this villain, but I mean, can't like everything. It's fine. Red Hulk. I've been enjoying this one. Ben Percy doing Red Hulk. Here's number 4. I love that there's the supporting cast is Machine Man and Deathlock. Here's issue 5 and 6. So really enjoying that book. I read the Free Comic Book Day Fantastic Four Giant Size X-Men issue. I read Giant Size Fantastic Four number 1. Cable Love and Chrome number 5, finishing out that miniseries. Again, David, I think it's David Pepose. Not my favorite writer, but he tried to do something interesting with this series with time travel and such. And I am a sucker for time travel and Cable's a great character for it, so there's that. West Coast Avengers 8. Just loving that there's a West Coast Avengers book that has even the slightest flavor of the old book. Iron Man in the old red armor, red and silver armor. Um, I've been enjoying this. Runaways 1, a miniseries, I'm assuming, from the One World Under Doom, springing from that crossover. And this was actually pretty good. Pretty good issue. Written by Rainbow Rowell, who wrote, I believe, the last volume of Runaways. So it's actually pretty good stuff. I read the first two of these Bring On the Bad Guy specials, Doom and Green Goblin. Great covers, by the way. But Guggenheim, Reading, the Doom one. Yeah. But this has been a pretty good event so far. So I have the next several issues I need to read. But enjoyed that. Finished, I believe I finished. Is this the last one? Yeah. Spider Society, number 4. This one I wasn't too impressed with. It just felt very much like a cartoon show. But, like um, a kid's cartoon show. Like nothing too hard, nothing too difficult. It just felt very, very there. But so it's taken me a while to get through these 4 issues. But I love the Spider-Verse characters, so that kept me going. Happy to see Steve Orlando continuing with some Scarlet Witch with the latest miniseries, Vision and the Scarlet Witch number 1 and 2. They keep restarting and renaming, but at least there's something ongoing with Steve Orlando writing Scarlet Witch. I really love her setup with the little store and the special door and Darcy. I just love that. I love the little world that they've created for this series of series. But current one involving Vision, nice to see that. Daredevil Unleash Hell 4 and 5 finished out that miniseries with the Elektra Daredevil. I read the whole miniseries here of Predator versus Spider-Man. Now this is not set in the 616. So they're really free to do whatever they want. They're free to pick whatever version of Spider-Man and his supporting cast that they want. Written by Ben Percy. This is a really good little mini. So there's 1, 2, 3. See Craven's involved. And 4. So I enjoyed that. I haven't really been getting any of these kind of crossover books with licensed properties because I know they don't really sit inside the regular Marvel universe. But this one was just, it just looked too good to resist. So took a chance, enjoyed it. I finished out the Greg Pak Weapon H series, which I enjoyed greatly. Picked up where I left off with issue 5. This one's going back a few years. Number 6. 7. And Weapon H, if you don't know, is like a Wolverine Hulk hybrid character. Number 8. 9. And they go to Weird World, which was fun. 10. Morgan Le Fay. 11. And 12. So, finished out that miniseries. So, always be looking for that character to pop up again. I read, trying to see, what did I read in these? Okay, yeah. I read the backup material in these books because I already have the first stories in a collected edition because they're issues of Marvel Tales, and the Spider-Man stories I already have. But this one, number 81, had several pages in the back of Spider-Man newspaper strip and trying to fill pages. So I read those. And then in issue 83, they had a backup story from maybe like the old Amazing Fantasy book or something. Just a story that actually showed what was like a prototype for Aunt May and Uncle Ben before they appeared in Spider-Man. Goodbye to Linda Brown. And you had an Aunt May and Uncle Ben prototype characters, and they even, I think, have the same names in this story. I don't know if it doesn't look like they re-lettered it for the reprint, but they're making the supposition that perhaps this was an early story of Aunt May and Uncle Ben, which is really fun. Let's see. A couple named May and Ben appeared in this story feature in a Strange Tales 97. That's where it's from. And it was by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, so it's very possible they just reused Ben and May from that old story for Spider-Man. That's pretty cool. I read U.S. Avengers 5 because that's the only issue that I hadn't read. So I finally finished reading that series. I read One World Under Doom 5, keeping caught up with that event. It's pretty good. I finally finished out the Gods miniseries from Jonathan Hickman. So here's 6 with a variant cover, 7 with a variant cover, and I did kind of choose these variant covers on purpose because they resembled the old Cosmic Powers comic. But then there's issue 8. And that's all the Marvel. So that was the 66 Marvel comics I read in July. Let's go to the 10 DC. I read Absolute Flash number 4. And I got this, I paid the little extra to get this cardstock cover because I liked it a lot, even though the regular cover is not bad. It's a pretty good book. These issues are quick reads. Still reading the latest New Gods series. Here's 7. Still sometimes not clear what's happening. It's just, I'm not really, it's one of those things where I enjoy the actual act of reading the book. I mean, it looks attractive in a certain way. I enjoy reading the book, turning the pages. The artwork's usually pretty good. But as I'm reading it, I'm just like, I don't really like the story. So it's kind of a weird dynamic. I was in the mood to read some old 70s Superman, so I believe this is 70s. Yep, 73. So I grabbed this issue 262 of Superman. I read this issue of DC Comics Presents because I was reading Crisis crossovers, and because I would have bet money that I had read this before, but apparently I never had. So I read issue 87 where we have Superman and Superboy, the Superboy that would become Superboy Prime. So I read that one. Read Absolute Green Lantern number 3. Still an intriguing take on Green Lantern. Birds of Prey 22. Still slowly reading through Peter David's Supergirl series. I may have read this after I heard he passed away, just to read some Peter David, but there's issue 47. This was a freebie. Shark Week Aquaman comic. Air Jaws Allies. I read that. Because he's in the current Aquaman series, I really felt like going back and reading some Arion, Lord of Atlantis, and I found that I'd never read issue 1. So I pulled that out of my unread boxes and read number 1. And the last DC. This is the kind of comic book I love because I'm I don't know, information junkie when it comes to comics and comic characters. I love the Marvel Universe handbooks. I loved Marvel Saga. I loved Who's Who. I loved the Index books. I loved all that stuff. So the new history of the DC Universe was an automatic yes. This series, I couldn't even wait for my copy to come from DCBS. I had to buy a copy in the shop, so I just picked a different cover because this is a series I have to read immediately. And it's not just because they're going through the history of the DC Universe, you know, like that, but in the back, they do the kind of thing I love, where it's all footnotey stuff all day long, for pages and pages. This is what sells me the book because I'm a geek. But this really gives you things in order of the history of the DC universe, and it tells you the issues to check out. I mean, this is some work right here. Someone put in some insane work right here. So love it. So one of my favorite DC things of the year right there. And finally, the non-Marvel, non-DC books. 24 of those. From Dynamite, I read the 2 issues of the Terminator current series that I hadn't read. And I didn't buy any past 6. I don't know how many more issues it had after 6, but I read issue 5 and 6. If it finished with like number 7 or 8, I really should just go back and get those because I have all the rest. I've been really into Oni's EC revival books. I've been reading those. I'm totally caught up right at this moment with all of them. I've read all of what they've put out. But in July, I got caught up with Epitaphs from the Abyss, number 7. Truly great covers. Number 8. These books, they're addictive. Number 9. The stories aren't always that spectacular. I mean, they're not. Number 10. They're not always knockouts. But the presentation, the artwork, the lettering, all of that kind of makes up for it. And I just love reading them. Number 11. And number 12. And here's one more. I read Cruel Kingdom 2. From Dynamite, we have Thundercats, number 12. Mark Spears cover. Yes. Had to make sure I got that one. Issue 13, 14, 15. Enjoying the series. It's had some highs and lows for me, but overall, I'm still buying it, still reading it, so enjoying that. Because of the whole confusion with, Diamond's troubles and the distribution of Dynamite Comics, um, I'm still waiting for 16 to arrive, but DCBS sent me 17. So um, I'm just waiting till I get 16 before I read 17. That's really been the only major hiccup with my orders. G.I. Joe 8 from Image. Still enjoying Josh Williamson's work there. And Transformers 22. Still enjoying this whole shared universe. And then G.I. Joe Real American Hero 318. Keeping up with Larry Hama's traditional run. Started in the 80s. Then this next one is a curiosity that I don't know how many people picked up on this and how many people may have only gotten one of these and thought, okay, there's issue 1. Never Wars from AMP Thunder Comics. Issue 1 had 3 different versions, not just 3 covers. These are 3 distinct issues. You had Never Wars 1. This is the Neverland Peter Pan issue. And I'll show you, this one starts out, there's airplanes. It's a story focusing on Peter Pan. Then this number 1 is the Wonderland PFC Bird issue. You can see, yep, totally different insides. And this third one is Never Wars Land of Oz Dorothy issue. Yep, totally different comic. They kind of start out this story by giving us these 3 different versions of issue 1 with what all these different characters are doing, and then they come together and we go into issue 2 from there. So it's like, 3 number 1s that go into number 2. Interesting idea, but I really wish it would have just been 1, 2, 3 instead of 3 number 1s, because if I hadn't happened to just... My shop had these 3 sitting there on the shelf. And I was looking at them thinking, this is 3 different covers. If I hadn't just noticed that the insides were different, I would have just gotten one of these and thought I was done. So, risky. But I am continuing with this series so far. One that I picked up at a comic sale where I could fill a box for a certain amount of money. I got issue 4 of a series that I had 1 through 3, Emo Girl 4. So I read that from Black Tooth Comics. I read, issues 1, 2, and 3 of Storm Kids Monica Blue, a werewolf story. This is John Carpenter presenting. These I got at the comic sale I just mentioned, where I filled a box, and these were in there, and they looked interesting. I read them, enjoyed them. I have to find 4 and 5 now, I guess. And for Mad Cave, I read Defenders of the Earth number 8. Dan DiDio, Jim Calafiore. Nice reintroduction, continuation of Defenders of the Earth. Enjoyed that. And that's it. That's the last of the 24 non-Marvel, non-DC comics. That is the 100 comics I read for the month of July 2025. So until next time, everyone, enjoy your comics.